On today's show, come celebrate life outdoors at the fair. We share our favorite Minnesota foods, our favorite characters, and a few secret spots worth a stop.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Hey everybody, look where we are. Welcome to the Minnesota State Fair. The Minnesota Bound cabin is fully stocked and our team, well, you guys are ready to go.
I'm gonna go check out what's happening in the Northwoods.
And you know what? There's a lot of goodies in the Minnesota Bound log cabin, so you're gonna find me in there.
All right. Hey, this year 1.8 million people are going to show up at the fair, and many are going to make their way up our direction to the Northwoods. I think Travis Frank is ready to show you why it is such an outdoor crowd pleaser.
Ice cold beer, walleye cakes, walleye fries, now at Burgers.
If you come to the State Fair, you shouldn't have any trouble finding something to do. But if you love the great outdoors like me, then the Northwoods is the place to be. Grab a rope and hold on tight. Kids young and old reach new heights at Boy Scout Base Camp. Speaking of heights, the world's largest traveling Ferris wheel has arrived. View the fair from 155 feet above. When your stomach settles from reaching the clouds, trust Giggles to fill it up. At Giggles Campfire Grill, Minnesota's outdoor menu comes in 13 different recipes.
Bacon duck wontons. Everybody's talking about them. I love the fair. I love the fair. Number one seller is by far our Ranchera walleye cakes. They're unbelievable. We sell about 18,000 orders for them.
After quenching your thirst, settle on in. The Timberworks Lumberjacks know how to put on a show.
A lumberjack competition, 2 lumberjacks, 2 lumberjills, chopping, sawing, speed climbing, log rolling, and also some chainsaw events, 7 different events.
Once the sawdust settles, don't move an inch. A lineup of all-stars turned this Northwoods stage into a fur-flying frenzy.
A beautiful job and a great dive.
These dogs have a story worth an extra loud cheer.
They all come from pounds and shelters, and our mission has always been to promote animal rescue and pet adoption. We got some of the most talented dogs in the world. This is definitely our biggest show of the year.
Save your money. All of the Northwoods shows are free.
That's what I call a free massage.
After I've had my fill of the live shows, I like to relax and pretend I'm driving the trails in a brand new Polaris ATV.
Trev, you're here at the State Fair, but Minnesota does have more than 1,000 miles of trails.
Good to know.
Yeah, no doubt. And inside the tent here, the entire 2018 lineup. Now get back to driving, Travis.
Fan favorites come in many shapes and sizes in the DNR fish pond.
Now, it is an ancient fish that's been living in Minnesota for many thousands of years.
Every one of these fish were caught in a Minnesota lake or stream. After the fair, they're all going back. It's never too early to be thinking about ice fishing season. You might even find your dream deer stand here. Step right up and test your aim.
From shooting
bullseye
to log rolling and taste the outdoor treats.
Once more, please.
A look around proves the great outdoors defines the great Minnesota celebration.
Just make sure you stop by the Minnesota-bound cabin and say hello. We'll see you in the Northwoods.
Thanks, Travis. There's always a lot of fun here in the Northwoods. Hey, hang tight. Coming up, we're going to show you all the new products inside the Minnesota-bound State Fair cabin. And a little bit later, my favorite part, we're going to show you our favorite food picks, especially if you love the outdoors like us.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Minnesota Select GMC dealers, Jesse Treble's Safe Basements of Minnesota, Evinrude, the official outboard motor of Minnesota Bound, and by Connecticut.
Welcome back to the State Fair Special. You know what? The Lumberjacks are just getting ready to go for their show. But before they fire up the chainsaws, let's sneak inside the Minnesota-bound cabin. Laura Scher is ready to show you all this year's new stuff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Minnesota-bound log cabin. Come inside, I'm going to give you a tour of all the goodies we have in store. All right, for this tour, we're going to start with the star of the show, which of course is Raven the Black Lab, as we all know. And guess what, Mom and Dad? We have Raven puppies for sale here at the log cabin. And as we always promise, these puppies are 100% housebroken when they go home with you. You're going to love that. All right, we all know that we eat just about everything on a stick here at the State Fair, so why shouldn't your canine friends? You can buy them some dog pops on a stick. Don't these look delicious? And who doesn't want to wear their favorite black lab on their new favorite t-shirt from the State Fair? Here we have a Minnesota-bound t-shirt in this army green, and also new at the fair is the Raven baseball tee. And as you can see, it says established in 1995. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the year Minnesota-bound got started, and we've been celebrating for 23 years, and we hope you continue to celebrate the outdoors with us. One of my favorite things to wear when I go in the outdoors is plaid, and guess what? You can look just like me. We have the Minnesota-bound plaid flannel here for sale at the State Fair, and you know what they say? Twinning! What's that buzzing sound? Oh, that's right, it's the new Minnesota-bound bee houses. Now, these are made right in Wisconsin. As you can see, fun little Minnesota-bound logo on there, and they're for mason bees. And mason bees are prolific pollinators. They don't need a hive to thrive. In fact, they prefer empty wood cavities. So now you can do your part to help save the bee population. We all know the holidays are right around the corner, so now it's time to start thinking about gift giving. And here's a perfect gift. These are lake map necklaces, and they're made from vintage maps. As you can see, there's all sorts of lakes here. Here's Lake Minnetonka, Lake Mille Lacs, and I personally chose Girl Lake to wear around my neck. It's because of two reasons. Number one, girl power, of course. But two, I caught a really large largemouth bass on a topwater lure on this lake this summer, and now I have that memory around my neck forever. If you're looking for the perfect stocking stuffer for the holidays, look no further than Ron Scher's Outdoor Information Calendar. This calendar is full of information on dates of sports shows, when hunting season's open, when fishing season's open, bird migration patterns, and of course there's all sorts of beautiful wildlife art included in the calendar. Of course, we know one of my favorite places to be is Wild in the Kitchen. We have some adorable Minnesota oven mitts. And here you can see this one has a Minnesota moose on it. And this guy here has everything iconic to our great state, including the word oofta. And I'm gonna say oofta right now because it's getting hot in here because we're gonna talk about spices. These are spices from the golden fig, made right here in Minnesota. And two things that always hunters should remember is to brine your birds. So we have brining spices here to make it easy for you. Brining keeps the moisture in. Number one thing you need to do with your wild game. And here is a spice called sel de cuisine. I give this spice as a gift to so many of my friends. It's delicious on vegetables, poultry, meat, you name it. Actually has a little bit of cinnamon in it, and it's delicious. Many times when I'm in the fishing boat, people ask me, why do you have a scarf around your neck? Well, this is the Minnesota-bound neck gaiter, and I can tell you it is perfect for keeping the sun out of your face while you're fishing, or the dust out of your face if you're riding an ATV. So let me tell you, I'm ready to hit the fishing boat. Are you? Get a little loony eating everything on a stick out here at the State Fair, so why not just get a loony right at home with the Loon Tune toy? So fun for kids young and old. I could play this all day out here. So stop by and visit us here at the Minnesota Bound Log Cabin. We got lots of loony things in store for you.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Border View Lodge.
This year, 300 vendors will offer up more than 500 different foods at the fair. And you know what? We have a few favorites, especially if you're into life outdoors.
Picking my favorite State Fair item is simple. The fisherman side of me comes out and I go straight for the walleye. Giggles Campfire Grill makes hands down the best fresh fish. Now, he has 3 different walleye recipes. He's got walleye fries, walleye cakes, and his latest creation is walleye mac and cheese with Gouda cheese. Trust me, it's Gouda. But if I had to pick just one, I'm going walleye cakes. This is his staple. This is the fish that everybody wants to come eat. Giggles sells roughly 18,000 pounds of walleye every year. That's a lot of fish. Giggles Campfire Grill and the walleye, my State Fair special. Mark up.
Not only does the Northwoods have delicious things to eat, but of course the whole State Fair has tasty treats. And I'm standing in front of the Hamlin Church Dining Hall, and they're celebrating 120 years here at the State Fair. And new this year are the wild rice cranberry meatballs. Now I have to tell you, these meatballs are topped with lingonberries, which is known as the mountain cranberry, and in fact that is native to northern Minnesota. And the wild rice used in these meatballs, it's Minnesota wild rice. I'm gonna give it a taste. Very good. Don't miss this one.
Original Pronto Puffs are without a doubt my favorite State Fair food. But today I am on the hunt for a very specific booth.
They're selling like crazy.
And I found it, the Minnesota Farmers Union. There's a line, a really big line. And here it is. This is what everyone is waiting for. This is maple cream nitro-infused cold pressed coffee. Minnesota-made maple syrup, heavy cream farmed from Minnesota dairies, and then a secret coffee recipe only done by the Farmers Union here at the fair. Oh yeah, totally worth the wait. And so important to me because I actually grew up making maple syrup every spring with my grandfather and my father on my grandpa's farm, so it makes sense that this is a pick. After I finish this, hang tight. There's a lot more to come with the show, including a great Minnesota State Fair character. You might say Sean Carling's story is enlightening. You'll see.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Ellsworth Cooperative Creamery, Minnesota Rebath, and by Totem Resorts.
So, recycling is a big theme at this year's fair. Believe it or not, fair guests will create more than 2 million pounds of trash. But the fair has come up with ways to recycle more than 200 tons of cardboard, glass, aluminum, even food scraps. Which takes us to our next story. Sean Carling has a booth down on the far west end of the fair. And you might say his bright idea is all about Minnesota recycling.
Not to dive into the cliches, but if one man's trash becomes, well, you know, Sean Carling could be the king of collectors.
I've always drug home things I shouldn't be dragging home. I ask my wife. You know, I used to go to auctions, I'd go to estate sales, I'd go to garage sales.
All Sean's treasures end up here.
And so when you look around in this shop, I mean, I've picked all this stuff. Everything in here I've touched, everything in here I've found, everything in here I've dug out of a flea market. You know, we found it somewhere. I mean, there's so much fun stuff in here.
And Sean,
this one's probably one of my favorites.
Becomes attached,
you know, this reminds me of my dad.
To darn near every piece.
This is probably my favorite. These are probably some of my favorites as well. I really like these. These are probably my favorites. This stuff is to me just super cool. What we do with it, I don't know.
Oh, he knows. See, a few years back, Sean traded in his tech exec job to take Minnesota's tired junk and sort of shine new light on it.
It's more of recycled, upcycled, you know, finding found objects and turning it into something fun.
Like I said, he knows exactly what. The first time he did this, the light bulb clicked on.
I was trying to figure out what to buy my dad for Christmas one year. Figured out what kind of a tractor we had on the farm, and I sourced a piece from that tractor and turned it into a lamp for my dad, gave it to him for Christmas, and everybody loved it.
A one-time gift turned rather abruptly into full-time work. The art of light.
This all started from a lamp I made for my dad, and it seems only fitting that my dad should have to help as well. But my dad creates all the aviation stuff. My wife helps, you know, tremendously around the shop. My daughter's 16, so, you know, it's whatever I can get her over here to do. It's a family thing, and we have a great time with it.
Sanding, coating, cleaning, wiring, we can all do that. Sean kind of puts most of the stuff together. He's the visionary. He's got all the ideas.
Not true.
But this was my idea.
Lori Carling figured out how to get wires through the maze of pipes using the family's old vacuum.
What I like to do is I like to take the iconic piece, the piece that everybody recognizes, and build it into something that's nostalgic, something that somebody remembers.
Now the Carling's work goes to customers all over the world. Even so, Sean still loves the local crowd.
State Fair is pretty crazy. People watch it. What people say when they come into our booth, it ranges from the guy that says, oh, I could build this and I could do it. The other one is, I wouldn't give 10 cents for this, and it's usually the older people that grew up around this stuff. The other one is they just love it. I mean, it's art to them, and it's just cool pieces.
It's taking heritage and recreating it into something functional and useful for today.
End up leaving Best Buy, and, you know, good grief. I mean, it's a scary little thing to try and do, but I mean, this is amazing. I mean, we've had a blast with this, building lights and lamps.
And more importantly, recycling Minnesota's history one piece at a time. Although, by the looks of it,
this is the front of a DC-9.
Sean better get back to work.
So this is an old, probably 1920s water meter.
He's got a lot of stuff to build on.
This is the front of an old steam locomotive. This would have probably been mounted to the side of an old train boxcar. I don't know what it'll become, but it's neat.
We actually have some of Sean's work here in the Minnesota Bound cabin. Be sure to stop by and check out all the Minnesota Bound gear. Plus, the Minnesota Bound team will be here to say hello. If we happen to miss you, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.